Most people spend their lives chasing money, but never stop to realize wealth is not something you run after, it is something you draw to yourself. There is a spiritual shortcut to wealth, hidden in plain sight, but ignored by almost everyone. It's not about hustling harder. It's not about being lucky. It's about aligning your words, your thoughts, and your faith with the divine laws that govern abundance. The moment you understand this truth, you'll stop chasing wealth, and wealth will start chasing you. There is no struggle in divine abundance. Wealth is not earned through strain. It is attracted by spiritual alignment. The universe moves by law, and when you learn to cooperate with that law, you step into a current of prosperity that never runs dry. The first law is the law of the word. Every word you speak carries a vibration that calls forth its own kind. When you speak lack, you create lack. When you speak wealth, you magnetize wealth. It is not empty affirmation, it is spiritual cause and effect. The second law is expectancy. You must expect wealth as naturally as you expect the sun to rise. To expect with doubt is to block the flow. To expect with certainty is to open the floodgates of supply. The third law is gratitude. Gratitude multiplies what you have. When you bless the small, it becomes great. When you curse what you have, it diminishes. Gratitude is the key that unlocks increase. The fourth law is detachment. Stop clinging to money as your master. Wealth is your servant. When you release desperation, money flows to you in freedom. Desperation repels, peace attracts. The shortcut to wealth is not found in the world of material striving, it is found in the world of spirit. Align your words with wealth, your thoughts with abundance, your faith with certainty, and your gratitude with joy. Then, what you once chased will begin to appear effortlessly, for the spiritual always precedes the material. Remember this. You are not waiting for wealth. Wealth is waiting for you to awaken. Wealth is spiritual before it is material. Everything you see in your external life is an outpicturing of an inner state. The house, the career, the bank account, the opportunities, none of them are born first in the material world. They all begin in the invisible realm of thought, word, and belief. This is why two people can live in the same city, face the same economy, and yet one thrives while the other struggles. It is not circumstance that creates wealth, it is consciousness. The outer is always a mirror of the inner. The great truth is that wealth originates in spirit. Spirit is unlimited, eternal, and ever-giving. When you align with it, you step into the flow of abundance that never runs out. But when you attempt to build wealth from fear, force, or greed, you are trying to construct something from dust, without the breath of life in it. Material gain without spiritual foundation is unstable, it slips away as quickly as it comes. True wealth is anchored in the unseen laws of faith, gratitude, expectancy, and right words. The mind is the workshop where wealth is first formed. Every thought is a seed planted in the soil of your life. If you sow thoughts of lack, worry, and limitation, the harvest will be poverty and struggle. If you sow thoughts of prosperity, generosity, and confidence, the harvest will be increase and expansion. Many people labor to change their outer world while leaving their inner world in disorder. They hustle for money, yet constantly affirm with their words that life is hard and money is scarce. Spirit cannot contradict itself. It answers every seed according to its kind. To recognize wealth as spiritual before material is to realize that the universe is abundant by design. Look at nature, no tree bears just one leaf. No flower blooms with just one petal. No ocean holds back its waves. Creation reveals multiplication and overflow. Lack is not written into the laws of the universe. It is written into the beliefs of men and women. The one who changes belief changes reality. When you begin to see wealth as spiritual, you also stop chasing it. You understand that you cannot run after what you already possess in the invisible. You begin to act from a place of assurance. You speak differently. You expect differently. You carry yourself differently. You no longer make decisions from fear of running out, but from confidence in supply. This change in inner atmosphere causes outer doors to open, opportunities to appear, and ideas to come alive. The shortcut to wealth is therefore alignment, not struggle. Align your thoughts with abundance, your words with prosperity, and your actions with generosity. When you do, you are operating from the truth of spirit, and the material must conform. The flow is inevitable, because you are no longer contradicting yourself. You are not praying for abundance while speaking words of lack. You are not hoping for increase while fearing bills. You are united within, and unity always produces power. Another dimension of wealth, being spiritual first, is the role of gratitude. Gratitude is a spiritual force. It multiplies whatever it touches. When you are grateful for the small, you are proving you can handle the great. When you bless what you have, you are preparing the way for more. Gratitude is not just good manners, it is a magnetic energy that draws multiplication into your life. A heart filled with complaint can never experience true wealth, no matter how many possessions it collects. But a heart filled with gratitude lives in abundance even before the material appears. Faith, too, is the currency of the spiritual world. To believe before you see is to give life to that which is unseen. Faith is the evidence of wealth before the bank balance shows it. The material follows the spiritual law of faith as surely as the harvest follows the planting. The one who believes in lack, even with riches in their hand, will find themselves empty. The one who believes in abundance, even with little, will soon see increase. Finally, to understand that wealth is spiritual before it is material, is to take responsibility for your own inner state. It means you cannot blame the government, the market, or chance for your financial condition. They are only actors on the stage of your consciousness. If you change the script within, the actors without must play their new part. Life mirrors spirit. Spirit is the source. Wealth begins in the invisible. It is born in the soil of thought, watered by faith, strengthened by gratitude, and brought forth by right words. The material is only the shadow of the spiritual. To chase the shadow is to exhaust yourself. To align with spirit is to live in overflow. Wealth is not something you earn, it is something you allow. And the one who knows this truth will never live in lack again. Your words create the atmosphere you live in. Every word spoken is more than sound. It is a vibration that shapes the invisible field around you. When you speak, you are declaring to the universe what you believe to be true, and that declaration becomes the climate you walk in. People often underestimate the power of their own tongue, forgetting that it can open doors of prosperity or lock them in cages of limitation. Life responds not only to what you think, but also to what you release into the air with your words. Consider how words shift the mood of a room. A single sentence of encouragement can lift weary hearts, while a careless remark can drain hope in an instant. This same principle governs your personal atmosphere. If you speak words of defeat, fear, and lack, you create an atmosphere thick with discouragement. If you speak words of faith, gratitude, and wealth, you create an atmosphere where miracles are natural. You cannot live above the level of the language you consistently speak. The atmosphere you carry influences how people respond to you, what opportunities appear, and what possibilities unfold. Words are like seeds. They drop into the soil of your environment and grow into conditions that match their nature. Speak poverty and limitation long enough, and soon your outer world begins to reflect it: closed doors, constant setbacks, and endless struggle. Speak abundance and wealth with conviction, and the soil of life begins to yield increase. This is not superstition. It is law. Your subconscious mind, too, listens to every word you say. It does not argue or question. It accepts and reproduces. If you constantly declare, "I can't afford this," "I'll never get ahead," or "money is hard to come by," your inner mind registers those phrases as commands. It then goes to work, creating situations that match them. On the other hand, if you affirm, "I live in a universe of abundance, wealth flows to me freely, and everything I need is on its way," your subconscious aligns itself with those truths and begins to open pathways for them to manifest. This is why careless speech is so dangerous. Many people use words loosely, unaware of the atmosphere they are creating. They joke about being broke, laugh about struggle, or casually repeat the phrases of lack that culture teaches them. They do not realize they are painting the walls of their reality with those words. Words are never neutral. Every syllable carries creative force, and the more you repeat it, the more it hardens into form. When you begin to guard your tongue, you begin to change your atmosphere. You choose words that lift instead of limit, words that bless instead of curse. Instead of saying, "I'm broke," you say, "I'm aligning with wealth." Instead of saying, "Life is hard," you say, "Life is unfolding for my good." Instead of saying, "I can't," you say, I can, and the way will be shown. This shift in speech does not only alter your mood, it alters the vibration of your environment. People are drawn to you, opportunities seek you, and even challenges become stepping stones. Words also carry faith. When you speak what you desire with certainty, you are sending a command into the spiritual realm. You are declaring that you already own it in the invisible, and the material world must adjust to reflect it. Faith-filled words carry authority. They cut through doubt and create an atmosphere of expectancy. Just as a seed planted in fertile soil must break through, so words spoken in faith must bear fruit. Remember, your words not only shape your own life, but also influence the lives of others. A parent's words form the atmosphere of a child's confidence. A leader's words create the atmosphere of a community. A friend's words can either breathe courage or spread fear. Every word contributes to an atmosphere, and every atmosphere produces results. To live in wealth, you must speak the language of wealth. Gratitude is one of the most powerful atmospheres your words can create. When you continually give thanks, even for small things, you fill your environment with increase. Gratitude multiplies. The atmosphere of gratitude attracts more blessings because it aligns with abundance. Complaint, on the other hand, shuts doors and drains energy. A complaining atmosphere is heavy, stagnant, and resistant to progress. You cannot attract prosperity while filling your space with words of discontent. To master your atmosphere, practice conscious speech. Speak wealth in the morning, bless your day with prosperity, declare success over your work, and affirm abundance over your finances. When difficulties arise, resist the urge to speak fear. Instead, declare that solutions are unfolding and supply is on the way. Each word is a choice. You are either adding bricks to a prison of lack or laying stones for a palace of wealth. Ultimately, your words create a living environment around you, and that environment becomes your reality. Speak as if you already live in the wealth you desire, and soon the material world will mirror it. Speak health, and your body responds. Speak success, and doors open. Speak peace, and your mind rests. The spiritual law is unchanging. Your words shape your atmosphere, and your atmosphere shapes your life. You are not powerless. Every sentence you utter is a brushstroke, painting the landscape of your existence. Choose wisely, speak wealth, and wealth will live with you. Speak abundance, and abundance will accompany you. Speak faith, and faith will carry you where fear never could. Your words are the architects of your atmosphere, and your atmosphere is the stage on which your destiny unfolds. Speak wealth, and wealth must answer. The universe responds to the vibration of your words as faithfully as an echo answers a sound. When you declare wealth with conviction, you send out a call into the unseen, and that call cannot return empty. It draws circumstances, people, and opportunities that align with what you have spoken. Words are never wasted. They are seeds cast into the soil of the spirit, and wealth is the harvest of wealth-spoken words. Every fortune began with a declaration. Before money appeared, before success was visible, there was a word spoken in faith. Words carry the essence of creation. They summon what is unseen into form. This is why speaking wealth is not a ritual of empty affirmations but a conscious cooperation with spiritual law. What you continually declare becomes law in your life. If you speak lack, lack answers. If you speak wealth, wealth must answer. Consider the difference between those who habitually say, "I can't afford it," and those who say, "I will find a way." One locks the door to abundance, the other leaves it wide open. The person who speaks wealth may not yet hold it in their hands, but by their words, they build a bridge for it to arrive. The one who speaks lack digs trenches of delay. Words are not passive. They are creative commands, and wealth answers only to the sound of wealth. When you speak wealth, you are not pretending. You are aligning yourself with a higher truth, that abundance is already present in the spiritual realm, waiting for you to claim it. You are not begging for prosperity. You are calling it by name. Just as a shepherd calls his sheep and they follow, wealth recognizes the voice of one who speaks in faith. The outer world must bend to the authority of spoken truth. The power of speaking wealth lies in repetition and conviction. A single word has force, but consistent declarations shape reality. Every time you say, "Wealth flows to me," money comes in expected and unexpected ways. I am surrounded by abundance. You engrave those truths deeper into your subconscious mind. The subconscious then works tirelessly to fulfill the command, guiding you toward decisions, opportunities, and ideas that reflect what you have spoken. Soon, what was once invisible begins to take tangible form. Speaking wealth also shifts your inner atmosphere. When you affirm abundance, you silence fear. You replace the language of struggle with the language of certainty. This shift is magnetic. People feel the confidence in your words. Doors open because you carry the vibration of someone who expects success. Wealth answers not only in money but in favor, in opportunities, in divine connections. The more you speak wealth, the more your life organizes itself around increase. This law is evident in small things. Speak joy, and joy multiplies. Speak peace, and peace fills your home. The same is true with wealth. Words are energy, and energy seeks its own. Wealth is drawn to a wealthy vibration. It does not follow the cry of desperation, it follows the command of certainty. When you speak wealth without doubt, you are tuning yourself to the frequency of prosperity, and what matches that frequency must appear. There is a danger, however, in careless speech. Many people sabotage themselves by speaking both wealth and lack, abundance and fear. They declare prosperity in one breath, and complain of being broke in the next. This double tongue creates confusion in the spiritual realm. It sends mixed signals, and the result is delay. To see the full power of speaking wealth, your words must be consistent, unwavering, and aligned with faith. Gratitude strengthens this practice. When you speak wealth, combine it with thanksgiving. Say, I am grateful that wealth flows to me now. Gratitude confirms your faith, proving that you already believe you have received. The universe answers gratitude with multiplication. Wealth spoken in faith and sealed with gratitude becomes unstoppable. Your words also program the people around you. Speak wealth consistently, and others begin to see you through that lens. They offer opportunities, share resources, and connect you to abundance because they believe what you declare. Wealth once spoken does not only transform your inner state, it transforms your reputation. You become known as someone who lives in prosperity, and that image itself attracts more wealth. Remember, wealth is more than money. It is health, peace, opportunities, joy, and divine supply in every form. When you speak wealth, you are calling for the full measure of abundance that belongs to you. Money is simply one expression of that wealth. By your words, you invite the fullness of prosperity into your life, relationships that bless, ideas that prosper, and circumstances that lift you higher. The spiritual law cannot be broken. What you speak must answer. If you speak wealth, wealth must respond. If you speak lack, lack must respond. You hold the power to shape your reality with your tongue. No one else can do it for you. Speak deliberately. Speak boldly. Speak as if it is already done. In every season of life, speak wealth. In times of plenty, affirm increase. In times of struggle, declare abundance even louder. Your words are not bound by current circumstances. They transcend the moment and pull from the unseen. Speak wealth in faith, and soon your life will echo back the very words you have declared. Wealth must answer, for the universe is designed to obey the voice of conviction. Expectation magnetizes abundance. It is the invisible force that draws opportunities, resources, and prosperity toward you. As surely as a magnet pulls metal, expectation is not a weak hope or wish. It is a confident knowing that what you desire is already on its way. When you expect abundance, you position yourself to receive it. You walk differently, you speak differently, you act differently, because your inner atmosphere is charged with certainty. Abundance answers expectation. The way a seed answers sunlight, it grows because the conditions invite it. Expectation is a spiritual law. The world gives back to you what you anticipate. If you expect struggle, struggle shows up. If you expect doors to close, they do. But if you expect increase, new possibilities rise up to meet you. Life mirrors belief. Expectation is belief in motion, and whatever you carry in your inner state will eventually appear in your outer world. This is why two people can walk into the same room, one expecting rejection and the other expecting opportunity, and each will receive exactly what they anticipate. Think of expectation as a magnet in your spirit. It is constantly pulling experiences into your life. This magnet cannot be turned off. It only shifts according to what you truly believe. If you expect disappointment, your magnet is tuned to lack. If you expect prosperity, your magnet is tuned to wealth. You cannot fool this law with empty words. Expectation is deeper than what you say it is, what you feel and believe at the core of your being. That inner conviction radiates outward and shapes the flow of events around you. Many people sabotage their own abundance by expecting the worst. They pray for prosperity but secretly expect bills to pile up. They speak about opportunity but expect failure in the back of their minds. This inner contradiction creates resistance. The magnet of their expectation is not aligned with the words they speak. To truly magnetize abundance, your expectation must match your declaration. Faith must not only be on your lips, but rooted in your heart. The power of expectation is seen in every great breakthrough. Successful people expect to succeed long before the evidence is visible. They carry themselves with certainty. They prepare as though the result is guaranteed, and the universe responds by arranging circumstances in their favor. Their expectation opens doors that fear would have kept shut. When you expect wealth, you begin to notice opportunities that others overlook. You recognize ideas, connections, and possibilities that were always present, but hidden from those who expect nothing. Expectation also governs your actions. A person who expects abundance will take steps toward it. They will invest in themselves, pursue opportunities, and move with confidence. Their behavior flows from their belief. On the other hand, someone who expects failure hesitates, doubts, and misses the moment. Expectation fuels action, and action fuels manifestation. Your inner expectation is always writing the script for your outer life. Gratitude strengthens expectation. When you thank the universe in advance, you prove that you are expecting good. Gratitude is faith expressed. It says, "I believe it is already mine, and I rejoice before it arrives." This vibration pulls abundance even faster, because gratitude dissolves doubt. Expectation without gratitude can feel rigid or anxious, but expectation infused with thanksgiving feels light, confident, and unstoppable. There is no shortage in the universe. Abundance is infinite, but most people block it with small expectations. They believe they can only earn a little, only go so far, only receive what is logical. Expectation breaks these limits. It dares to believe in more. It magnetizes greater supply because it trusts that there is no lack in the divine. When you expect more, you receive more. Not because the universe suddenly became abundant, but because you finally opened yourself to receive what was already there. Even in difficult seasons, expectation has power. When everything looks scarce, expectation declares, "This is temporary, abundance is on its way." This inner stance keeps the magnet strong, even when the outer evidence is weak. Those who expect abundance in adversity rise faster than those who surrender to despair. Expectation lifts the eyes to see solutions. It keeps the heart open to miracles. Expectation is not about forcing outcomes. It is about aligning with the flow of supply. It says, "I trust the process. I know provision is coming. I am ready to receive." This readiness is magnetic. It prepares your life to hold what you asked for. Without expectation, even when abundance arrives, you may miss it or fail to keep it. With expectation, you recognize it immediately, seize it, and multiply it. Every day, check the magnet of your expectation. Ask yourself, what am I truly expecting? More bills, more setbacks, more struggle? Or am I expecting overflow, opportunity, and prosperity? Life will not rise above the level of your expectation. The law is faithful. Expectation magnetizes abundance. Whether that expectation is for lack or prosperity, the choice is yours. Decide now to expect the best in every area of your life. Expect doors to open. Expect provision to arrive. Expect wealth to flow. Refuse to give your energy to thoughts of defeat. The universe is listening to your expectation and preparing to answer it. Hold fast to the vision of abundance, and abundance will come, not as chance, but as the inevitable response to your faith. Expectation magnetizes abundance. It pulls prosperity out of the unseen and anchors it in your reality. The law cannot fail. Believe it, expect it, and watch as the world rearranges itself to bring you everything you dared to anticipate. Gratitude multiplies what you already have. It is not merely a polite response to blessings, but a spiritual force that opens the floodgates of abundance. When you give thanks for what is in your hand, you create room for more to arrive. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, and what you focus on expands. A grateful heart cannot stay in lack, because gratitude aligns you with the divine law of increase. The smallest thing, when blessed, grows. The moment you stop despising what you have and start appreciating it, you activate multiplication. Many people miss this truth because they wait for greater blessings before giving thanks. They say, "I will be grateful when I have more money, when I get the job, when life looks the way I want." But gratitude is not about waiting. It is about declaring increase now. When you bless the small, you prove your faith in the greater. When you give thanks for the seed, you attract the harvest. The soil of the universe responds to gratitude by yielding more of what you honor. Gratitude is magnetic. If you focus on lack, you call in more lack. If you focus on blessings, you call in more blessings. Your mind becomes a mirror of your reality, and reality multiplies what you dwell on. Gratitude trains the mind to see abundance everywhere. Instead of saying, "I don't have enough," you declare, "I already have more than I once prayed for." This attitude turns ordinary moments into treasures. It transforms challenges into lessons. It makes you receptive to opportunities that others overlook. The person who is grateful never runs dry, because gratitude is the vibration of receiving. Gratitude is also an antidote to fear. Fear says, "There isn't enough." Gratitude says, "I always have more than enough." Fear tightens your grip on what you have, but gratitude loosens it, creating flow. When you are grateful, you no longer cling to money, people, or opportunities in desperation. You know more will come, because you have seen the law in action. The grateful heart is fearless, and fearlessness attracts wealth, love, and success. Consider how gratitude multiplies in simple life examples. A person who complains about their job blocks promotion, but one who gives thanks for the position they have attracts better opportunities. A person who curses small income keeps it small, but one who blesses every dollar sees it grow. Even in relationships, gratitude transforms dynamics. If you constantly point out flaws, love withers. If you give thanks for the good, affection multiplies. Gratitude multiplies in every area, because it is a universal law. The power of gratitude is strongest when circumstances seem the weakest. It is easy to give thanks when the table is full, but true multiplication happens when you bless the little. Imagine someone with only a single loaf, choosing to say, "I am thankful for this bread." That vibration of gratitude calls forth more loaves. It demonstrates trust in the unseen supply. The universe responds by increasing provision, because gratitude proves faith. Gratitude is not about denying reality. It is not pretending that challenges don't exist. It is about choosing to see the good even in the midst of difficulty. When you are grateful for lessons learned through hardship, you turn pain into wisdom. When you are grateful for small victories, you turn them into stepping stones for greater ones. Gratitude transforms perspective, and perspective shapes destiny. Wealth is not only measured in money. Health, relationships, opportunities, and peace are all forms of wealth. Gratitude multiplies them all. When you bless your body, it responds with vitality. When you bless your friendships, they deepen. When you bless your opportunities, they expand. Gratitude touches every part of life and brings increase. It is impossible to remain stagnant when gratitude is your daily practice. Gratitude also keeps you aligned with humility. It reminds you that blessings are not random, but part of a divine order. It shifts you from entitlement to reverence. An entitled heart closes doors, but a grateful one opens them. People are naturally drawn to those who carry gratitude, just as the universe responds to their vibration. Gratitude not only multiplies resources but also relationships, networks, and influence. If you want to attract more, begin by appreciating what is already in your hands. Bless the roof over your head, even if it's small. Bless the food on your plate, even if it's simple. Bless the income you have, even if it's little. Bless your health, even if it's imperfect. Bless your opportunities, even if they seem few. Every blessing you honor grows. Every seed you water with gratitude becomes a harvest. Without gratitude, wealth slips away. Many people gain money but lose it quickly because they never learned gratitude. They complain even in abundance, and the law answers their ingratitude with loss. Gratitude is the safeguard of prosperity. It keeps wealth flowing, multiplying, and rooted in joy. Without it, even great riches feel empty. With it, even small beginnings feel overflowing. Gratitude multiplies what you already have, because it creates alignment between you and divine supply. It makes you a vessel that can hold more. When you refuse to complain and instead give thanks, you declare that you are ready for increase. Gratitude says, I recognize the abundance that already surrounds me, and I am open to receive more. The universe cannot resist a heart like that. Every day, choose gratitude deliberately. Write down what you are thankful for. Speak blessings over your resources. Train your mind to look for abundance, not lack. Gratitude will multiply your wealth, your peace, your joy, and your opportunities. It is the simplest yet most powerful practice for creating increase. The law is unchanging. What you bless grows, what you curse withers. Gratitude is the secret that turns little into much, and much into overflow. Lack is a lie, prosperity is your birthright. From the beginning of time, abundance has been woven into the very fabric of creation. The earth itself testifies to this truth. The oceans do not run out of waves. The sun does not run out of light. The soil does not run out of seeds. Everywhere you look, nature reflects endless supply. Lack is not the natural order. It is a distortion of perception. When you believe in lack, you are buying into a lie that keeps you chained to limitation. Prosperity is not something you must beg for, chase, or prove yourself worthy of. It is your birthright because you are connected to infinite source. The belief in lack is one of the greatest illusions humanity has ever embraced. It is taught through fear, reinforced by culture, and repeated by generations who themselves were deceived. People are trained to say, there isn't enough to go around. Money is scarce. Opportunities are few. You have to struggle to get by. These ideas are nothing but illusions that shrink the mind and imprison the spirit. Lack is not a reality, it is a mindset. When you accept it as truth, you create it in your life. But when you reject it and claim prosperity as your birthright, doors begin to open, ideas begin to flow, and opportunities multiply. Prosperity is not limited to money. It is the full expression of thriving in every area of life: health, relationships, creativity, peace, and purpose. To prosper means to grow, to flourish, to succeed in alignment with divine law. Money is simply one channel, but prosperity encompasses far more. You were created to live abundantly, not to scrape through life in fear and struggle. You were designed to express the richness of life, to expand and contribute. Every time you choose to believe in lack, you deny who you really are. Every time you declare prosperity, you step back into your inheritance. Lack whispers that there isn't enough for everyone, but prosperity declares that the universe is inexhaustible. Consider how many ideas are waiting to be born, how many inventions yet to be created, how many opportunities yet to be discovered. Human imagination itself is proof of endless supply. Prosperity is not a pie that gets smaller with every slice. It is a fountain that flows without end. Your share cannot be taken from you, because it was written into your destiny. You are not competing for scraps, you are tapping into an infinite well. To live in prosperity, you must uproot the lie of lack from your mind. It begins with words. When you constantly say, I can't afford this, I'll never get ahead, life is too hard, you are programming yourself to live in scarcity. Your words are creative forces, and they shape the atmosphere of your life. Replace them with words of truth. I am provided for. Opportunities are flowing to me. I live in abundance. These affirmations are not empty wishes, they are commands that align you with the law of prosperity. Prosperity, as your birthright, also means you do not need to earn it by suffering or striving endlessly. So many people carry guilt around wealth, believing that success is reserved for others, or that abundance means selfishness. But wealth used wisely blesses not just the individual but the entire world. When you prosper, you have more to give, more to share, more to create. A starving soul cannot feed others, but an abundant soul becomes a channel of generosity. Claiming your prosperity is not selfish, it is essential to fulfilling your purpose. One of the clearest proofs that lack is a lie comes from observing nature. A single apple contains seeds for an entire orchard. A single tree produces thousands of leaves, Not just enough to survive, but overflowing in abundance. The universe is extravagant, not stingy. It operates in multiplication, not subtraction. Why then would human life created in alignment with this same order be destined for scarcity? The truth is, it is not. Scarcity enters only when fear blocks the flow of abundance. To fully embrace prosperity, you must shift from a survival mindset to a thriving mindset. Survival says, just enough to get by. Thriving says, more than enough to expand, share, and create. When you declare that prosperity is your birthright, you break free from generational lies of struggle and open yourself to new levels of possibility. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop dimming your light to fit into environments built on lack. You stand in your truth. Abundance is the natural state of your soul. Lack feeds on comparison. It says, they have more, so you must have less. But prosperity knows no competition. Your blessings are not diminished by another person's success. In fact, their abundance is proof of what is possible for you. When you celebrate prosperity in others, you invite it into your own life. Gratitude and celebration are magnets for increase. Envy and complaint are chains that keep you bound to lack. Choose celebration, and you align yourself with the law of expansion. Prosperity as your birthright also means that it is not limited by circumstances. You may have grown up in lack, surrounded by struggle, but that does not define your destiny. You may have faced setbacks or losses, but they do not cancel your inheritance. Prosperity flows from the unseen source, not from outer conditions. Jobs, investments, and people may shift, but source is unchanging. When you remember this, you stop fearing the loss of channels and trust the endless supply behind them. Lack is a lie, and prosperity is your birthright. The moment you accept this truth, you begin to see abundance where others see emptiness. You begin to attract opportunities others overlook. You begin to embody the confidence that comes from knowing you are supported. Prosperity is not a distant dream, it is the reality waiting for you to claim. Stand in your truth. Reject the lie of lack. Speak the language of abundance. Walk as one who knows that wealth, peace, and flourishing are not luxuries, but your divine inheritance. The law is clear. Lack is an illusion. Prosperity is reality. Step into it boldly, for it has been yours all along. Money is a servant, not a master. This truth liberates you the moment you accept it. Too often, people hand money the throne of their lives. They wake up thinking about it, go to bed worrying about it, and make every choice through the filter of lack or fear of losing it. When money becomes the master, it dictates your emotions, your peace, your relationships, and even your purpose. But money was never meant to control you. It was meant to serve you. It is a tool, a channel, a resource, not a ruler. The moment you reclaim your authority over it, you step into freedom. Money is neutral. It carries no inherent power until you assign it one. If you treat it like a master, it will enslave you with anxiety and scarcity. If you treat it like a servant, it will obey your direction and flow to where it is needed. Think of money like fire. Fire can warm a home, cook a meal, or power engines. But if left unchecked, it can burn down everything you've built. The difference is mastery. Fire serves when you control it, but it destroys when it controls you. Money works the same way. When people allow money to be their master, they become trapped in endless chasing. They work jobs they hate, compromise their values, and sacrifice their health and families in pursuit of it. They make decisions from desperation, constantly fearing loss or not having enough. They think wealth is about stacking bills or hoarding possessions, but even in their gain, they remain empty, because their identity is tied to what they own. A master money creates slaves, but a servant money creates freedom. Money as a servant, however, allows you to direct it toward your highest purpose. You begin to see it as a channel of blessing rather than the source of security. You realize security never came from paper, it came from alignment with divine supply. When you place money in its rightful role, you use it to create, to build, to support, to bless. It becomes an instrument of expansion, not a chain of fear. Instead of asking, "How much can I get?" you begin asking, "How much impact can I make with what I've been given?" The greatest mistake people make is believing money equals power. True power is the clarity to decide who you are and the courage to live in alignment with it. Money simply amplifies what is already within you. In the hands of the fearful, money multiplies fear. In the hands of the generous, it multiplies blessing. In the hands of the selfish, it feeds greed. In the hands of the purposeful, it becomes a servant to vision. The question is not how much money you have, but how much mastery you have over it. To put money back in its place, you must begin with mindset. Stop saying, "I can't afford this, I'll never have enough." Money controls everything. These statements crown money as master. Replace them with words of authority. Money flows to me to serve my purpose. Money is my tool for good. I direct money with wisdom and clarity. These declarations remind you that you are in charge, not your bank balance. When you stand in authority, money takes its place as servant. Money serving you also means you stop fearing its loss. A servant may come and go, but the source remains constant. If you lose a job, an investment, or a possession, you do not collapse, because you know money is only one channel, not the source itself. The source of abundance is infinite and unchanging. As long as you are aligned with it, new channels will open. Fear vanishes when you realize money is not your master but your messenger, delivering resources from an inexhaustible supply. When money serves you, you begin to live differently. You choose work that aligns with your values, not just what pays the most. You invest in growth and creativity, not just in appearances. You give freely, knowing that generosity multiplies supply. You use money to create experiences, impact lives, and build legacies, not just to hoard or impress. You no longer bow to money's demands. Instead, you command it with intention. Money as servant brings peace. You are no longer consumed by worry over bills or obsessed with comparison. You see money as a flow, not a prison. It comes and goes, like water, and your task is to direct the current wisely. Masters chase money with desperation. Those who understand its servanthood attract it naturally. Because when you stop clutching, you open your hands to receive. When you stop fearing, you allow flow. The irony is that people who treat money as master often lose it, while those who treat it as servant often attract more. Why? Because fear repels abundance, while clarity and confidence magnetize it. Prosperity responds to authority. When you know who you are, when you align with truth, money cannot help but serve you. You stop running after it and start walking in a way that makes it follow you. Remember, you are not here to serve money. Money is here to serve you. You are not here to bow to it. It is here to work for you. Use it as a tool, not a throne. Let it build, not bind. Let it expand, not enslave. When you reclaim your rightful authority, you realize money is nothing more than a faithful servant ready to obey, ready to multiply, ready to flow when commanded with wisdom and truth. Desperation repels, faith attracts. This is not just a nice phrase, it is a spiritual law in action. Desperation carries an energy of lack, fear, and panic. It is a vibration that says to life, "I don't believe, I don't trust, I don't have." That energy pushes away the very things you desire because it contradicts the truth of abundance. Faith, on the other hand, is calm, confident, and expectant. It declares, "What I seek is already mine, and it is on its way." That vibration magnetizes opportunities, people, resources, and solutions to you, because faith is in alignment with the flow of abundance. Think about how people behave when they are desperate. They cling, they beg, they force. Whether in relationships, careers, or finances, desperation causes poor decisions and closed energy. When you are desperate for money, you settle for jobs or deals that drain you. When you are desperate in love, you attract partners who reflect your insecurity. Faith, by contrast, is expansive. Faith is rooted in certainty that supply is always flowing, even when you cannot yet see it. Faith is not passive, it is active trust. It allows you to move forward with clarity, to take action without fear, to prepare for what you desire because you already know it is yours. When you operate from faith, you are relaxed, focused, and aligned. This calm assurance opens doors, draws allies, and creates conditions where abundance can manifest. Faith is like opening your arms wide. It allows life to place blessings directly into your hands. Desperation says, "I'll never have enough." Faith says, "There's always more than enough." Desperation says, "Why isn't it happening?" Faith says, "It's already in motion." Desperation fixates on lack. Faith fixates on supply. One repels, the other attracts. You may have noticed that when you stop obsessing over something, it often shows up. That's because you shifted from desperation to faith. Your energy moved from tension to trust, and that opened the channel for manifestation. In money matters, desperation creates financial chaos. People who panic about bills, who constantly repeat, "I can't afford this," or who chase quick schemes are reinforcing lack. Their desperation blocks flow. Faith, however, creates stability and increase. The person who expects provision, speaks words of supply, and prepares for abundance naturally attracts new opportunities, unexpected income, and divine timing. Faith does not mean sitting still and waiting. It means acting with confidence that provision is already secured. In relationships, desperation repels love. Clinging, begging, or trying to prove worthiness only drives people away. Faith in love, however, says, "I am whole, I am valuable, and the right person is already aligned with me." That confidence becomes magnetic. People are drawn to those who stand in faith because it radiates security and peace. Desperation drains energy. Faith radiates power. Even in health and personal growth, the same law applies. Desperation focuses on sickness, on problems, on what is missing. Faith focuses on healing, on progress, on the unseen reality of wholeness. The energy you hold determines what multiplies. Life always mirrors your inner state. If you send out fear, you receive more fear. If you send out faith, you receive more evidence of faith fulfilled. To shift from desperation to faith, begin with your words. Desperation speaks lack. "I can't, I won't, it's too late." Faith speaks abundance. "I can, I will, it's on the way." Your words set the vibration you live in. Speak words of trust, and your energy rises to meet them. Next, shift your posture. Desperation clutches, faith opens. Desperation rushes, faith waits with confidence. Desperation fears loss, faith prepares for gain. Every day, you choose which energy to embody. Faith also requires letting go of the timeline. Desperation demands, "It must happen now or else." Faith knows that divine timing is perfect, and that delays are not denials. Desperation panics in the waiting. Faith rests in assurance. When you release the need to control every detail, you create space for miracles to unfold. Abundance often arrives in ways you could never have planned, but it only comes when you trust enough to allow. Remember, faith attracts because it is aligned with truth. The universe, God, or divine supply responds to certainty, not fear. When you know something is yours, you speak differently, you walk differently, you act differently. That certainty creates conditions where manifestation must occur. Desperation doubts, and doubt cancels manifestation. Faith believes, and belief brings substance to what was unseen. The choice is always before you. Will you operate from desperation or from faith? One closes doors, the other opens them. One pushes away, the other draws near. One says, "I am powerless." The other says, "I am already provided for." Desperation repels. Faith attracts. Align with faith, and you will see abundance rush to meet you. Because faith is the magnet that pulls unseen supply into visible form. The invisible creates the visible. This is the foundation of all manifestation, and the hidden truth behind every form of wealth, success, and creation in life. What you see around you, the house you live in, the clothes you wear, the money in your wallet was once invisible. It began as a thought, an idea, a desire, a belief. Every building was once an image in someone's imagination. Every invention was once a spark in the unseen mind of a creator. Every dollar was once only an intention, a plan, or a vision before it became a physical reality. The visible is simply the outpicturing of the invisible. Too often, people only look at what they can see and touch, and forget that it all has an origin in the unseen. They look at their empty bank account, their lack of opportunities, or the absence of love in their life, and believe that is all there is. But the truth is that the invisible realm is far greater than the visible one. Ideas, faith, words, and imagination shape matter. You are never limited by what you see, because what you see is only the harvest of past thoughts. The seeds for tomorrow's harvest are being planted right now in the invisible soil of your mind and spirit. When you focus only on the visible, you become trapped by appearances. If money is scarce, you panic. If opportunities seem few, you despair. If circumstances are difficult, you give up hope. But the law remains. The invisible creates the visible. The supply you seek is not outside of you. It is already present in the unseen. Faith is the bridge that draws it into form. What you hold in your inner world will eventually appear in your outer world. Look at nature as proof. The farmer cannot see the crop the day he plants the seed. The soil looks barren. But he knows that the invisible life force within the seed is already at work. He waters it, nurtures it, and expects growth, even when nothing is visible yet. In time, the invisible becomes visible as a field of abundance. Your dreams, desires, and prayers operate the same way. They are seeds planted in the invisible. If you water them with faith and nourish them with right words, they must manifest into visible supply.
The invisible realm is shaped by your thoughts and words. Your mind is the workshop of creation. Every time you imagine yourself prospering, every time you declare abundance, every time you give thanks for unseen blessings, you are molding the invisible substance of life into form. On the other hand, every time you dwell on lack, speak defeat, or fear the future, you are also shaping the invisible, but into forms of limitation and struggle. The universe mirrors the image you hold. This is why vision is more important than sight. Sight shows you what exists now. Vision shows you what can exist tomorrow. Sight may say, "You are broke." Vision says, "I see myself wealthy and free." Sight may say, "You are alone." Vision says, "I see myself surrounded by love." Sight may say, "The door is closed." Vision says, "A greater door is already opening." Sight is limited, vision is infinite. And because the invisible creates the visible, vision always has the final word. Faith is the power that activates the unseen. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is knowing that the invisible is more real than the visible. When you walk in faith, you stop reacting to appearances. You stop panicking when conditions look bleak because you understand that conditions are temporary, but the invisible supply is eternal. Faith allows you to rest, to act with confidence, and to prepare for blessings you cannot yet see. This alignment draws the invisible into visibility. Gratitude is another key to turning the invisible into the visible. When you give thanks in advance for what you desire, you are affirming that it already exists in the unseen. Gratitude is proof of faith. It multiplies what you already have and accelerates the manifestation of what you seek. Instead of complaining about lack, speak gratitude for abundance that is already on its way. This shifts your vibration and magnetizes supply. Consider wealth itself. Money is visible, but the ideas, creativity, and faith that generate money are invisible. A business starts with an invisible idea. A career begins with an invisible vision. An empire grows from an invisible belief in possibility. The wealth you desire is not created by chasing after the material. It is created by aligning with the spiritual. When your thoughts, words, and faith are in harmony with abundance, the material form cannot help but appear. The invisible also creates the visible in relationships. Love begins as an invisible quality within you: kindness, self-worth, and openness. Those inner states attract the outer form of healthy, loving partnerships. Desperation repels love because it projects fear and lack. Faith attracts love because it radiates security and wholeness. Again, what you cultivate invisibly will manifest visibly. This law explains why so many people struggle. They think change must come from rearranging the visible, when the truth is that change begins in the unseen. They try to fix money by working harder without changing their inner beliefs. They try to force love by clinging without first cultivating self-worth. They try to change circumstances without first changing thoughts, but the visible is only a mirror, the invisible is the source. If you want new results, you must create them first in the invisible realm. Never underestimate the power of imagination, faith, and words. They are the tools of creation. They are how the invisible becomes visible. Guard your inner world carefully, because it is the womb of your future. If you fill it with fear, you will birth struggle. If you fill it with faith, you will birth abundance. The invisible creates the visible, always and without exception. So stop being ruled by appearances. Stop letting the visible dictate your beliefs. Instead, align with the unseen. See wealth where there is lack. See health where there is sickness. See opportunity where there is failure. Hold the vision, speak the word, stand in faith, and give thanks. The invisible is already shaping itself around your beliefs. Soon, what you hold inside will step into form, and you will see with your eyes what you once only knew in your spirit. Wealth begins the moment you align with divine law. True prosperity is not an accident, nor is it a game of chance. It flows from principles as precise and reliable as the law of gravity. When you understand and align yourself with these higher laws, wealth cannot be withheld from you. It may take time to appear in the material, but once you plant yourself in the soil of divine order, abundance is inevitable. Divine law is the spiritual structure that governs all of life. It is the unseen order that shapes the visible world. Just as the planets move in harmony with cosmic law, and the seasons shift in rhythm with natural law, so too does wealth unfold in your life when you move in harmony with spiritual law. Struggle, lack, and scarcity are not punishments. They are signals that you are out of alignment. When you correct your inner state, your thoughts, words, and beliefs, you return to harmony, and prosperity flows naturally. What does it mean to align with divine law? It begins with understanding that wealth is not about hoarding money or possessions. Wealth is the natural state of the universe. Look around. The stars are countless, the oceans vast, the fields overflowing with harvest, the forests teeming with life. There is no lack in creation. The idea of lack exists only in the human mind, created by fear and doubt. When you align with divine law, you recognize abundance as your birthright. You stop clinging to scarcity and begin to expect plenty. One of the primary laws is the law of belief. You do not get what you wish for. You get what you believe. If you believe wealth is difficult, it will evade you. If you believe money is evil, it will resist you. If you believe you are unworthy, you will repel prosperity. But when you believe that wealth is your divine inheritance, that money is a servant for good, and that abundance is always flowing toward you, then life rearranges itself to reflect that belief. Divine law responds to certainty, not to doubt. Another law is the law of words. Your words are not idle sounds. They are commands to the universe. When you speak lack, you align with lack. When you declare wealth, you align with wealth. Words carry vibration, and vibration shapes reality. If you say, "I can't afford this," you close the door to prosperity. If you say, "All my needs are met in divine order," you open the door to abundance. Aligning with divine law means disciplining your tongue to speak only what you desire, never what you fear. There is also the law of giving. The universe operates in circulation. Just as the heart gives and receives blood, wealth flows in cycles of giving and receiving. When you clutch, hoard, or withhold out of fear, you cut yourself off from the current of prosperity. But when you give freely, with faith and joy, you affirm abundance and place yourself in the stream of circulation. Giving does not diminish you, it multiplies you. Every act of generosity is a seed that must return in multiplied form. Aligning with divine law means giving in confidence, knowing that what you send out must return. The law of gratitude is another. Gratitude multiplies what you already have. It shifts your focus from lack to sufficiency, from complaint to appreciation. When you give thanks for blessings seen and unseen, you declare to the universe, "I already have more than enough." that vibration magnetizes more. To align with divine law, you must practice gratitude daily, not as a ritual, but as a lifestyle. Gratitude keeps your heart open, your mind expectant, and your spirit aligned with abundance. Faith itself is a law. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is not blind, it is spiritual sight. When you walk by faith, you act as though your good is already here. You prepare, you expect, you celebrate in advance. Faith draws the invisible into visibility. Aligning with divine law means choosing faith over fear, certainty over doubt, and vision over appearances. Faith anchors you in the truth that abundance is already yours. When you align with divine law, wealth begins to manifest not just as money, but as wholeness, peace, opportunity, and joy. True wealth is not confined to the bank account. It is a state of flourishing in every area of life. Money without peace is poverty. Success without love is emptiness. But when you live in harmony with divine principles, your wealth touches every dimension of life, your relationships, your health, your work, your spirit. Many people chase wealth outside of divine law. They strive, hustle, manipulate, or compromise their integrity. Even if they accumulate money, it slips through their fingers or leaves them restless and unfulfilled. That is because they built on sand rather than on law. Real wealth cannot be stolen or destroyed because it flows from alignment with eternal truth. Once you are in harmony with divine order, prosperity is anchored, and no circumstance can uproot it. The moment you align with divine law is the moment you step into freedom. You no longer fear lack because you know supply is eternal. You no longer envy others because you know there is enough for all. You no longer strive in desperation because you understand that wealth comes through alignment, not struggle. This shift liberates you. You begin to live with ease, confidence, and generosity, knowing that the same law that governs the stars governs your prosperity. Wealth begins the moment you align with divine law. You do not need to chase it. You need only to align. Align your thoughts with abundance, your words with prosperity, your actions with generosity, and your heart with gratitude. Stand in faith, speak with certainty, and trust the unseen. The universe is abundant, and divine law is unchanging. Once you are aligned, wealth must appear because it is not the exception, it is the rule.